Myths are stories. They are the tales we tell ourselves about the world, and in these stories there are monsters. There are creatures born from the darkness between the stars. They come from the deep places of the ocean. They live in the forests we are too afraid to enter. These are not just simple beasts. They are ideas given form. They are our fears and our wonders, shaped into something with claws and wings. They are the dragon hoarding its gold, the phoenix rising from its ashes, the griffin guarding ancient treasures. These creatures have never truly walked the earth. Yet, they live on. They live on in our minds and in the stories we pass down. They are as real as the lessons they teach and the warnings they give. They are the echoes of a time when the world was new and full of magic. These beings are not all the same. Some are terrifying. They are the things that go bump in the night. The kraken dragging ships to the bottom of the sea. The minotaur waiting in its labyrinth, hungry for a sacrifice. These creatures represent the chaos we fear. They are the embodiment of nature's unpredictable power, of the unknown dangers lurking just beyond the firelight. They are the reason we build walls and create laws. They are the monsters we must conquer to build our civilizations. They remind us that the world is a dangerous place, that not all things can be tamed or understood. These tales of terror were a way to explain the unexplainable, to give a name to the storms and the plagues that threatened our ancestors. But not all mythical creatures are born of fear. Some are symbols of great power and wisdom. Consider the unicorn, a creature so pure that only a virtuous maiden could approach it. It represented innocence and healing. Its horn was said to neutralize poison and cure any disease. Then there is the phoenix, the beautiful bird that lives for 1,000 years. When its time comes, it builds a nest of spices, sets it on fire, and is consumed in the flames. From those ashes, a new phoenix is born. It is a powerful symbol of rebirth and resilience. It tells us that even from the greatest destruction, new life and new hope can emerge. These creatures offer us comfort. They suggest that there is a magic in the world that is good and just. So where do these stories begin? They begin with a question. They start with a shadow that looks a little too much like a man. They start with a strange noise in the woods at night. They begin with the discovery of a large, unidentifiable bone buried in the earth. Our ancestors did not have science to explain these things. They had stories. A massive skeleton unearthed from the ground was not a dinosaur. It was the remains of a giant, or perhaps a fallen dragon. A powerful storm that destroyed a village was not just weather. It was the wrath of a great serpent lurking in the clouds. These myths were their science. They were their history. They were the framework through which they understood their existence and their place in a vast, mysterious universe. Every culture has its own monsters. They are shaped by the land and the sky. They are formed by the values and fears of the people who dreamed them up. In the cold lands of Scandinavia, the world was filled with giants. Frost giants, fire giants. They were born from the ice and the embers of creation. They were a constant threat to the gods of Asgard. These giants were a reflection of the harsh, unforgiving landscape. They were the embodiment of the brutal winters and the volcanic fires that shaped the Nordic world. The stories of Thor fighting the giants were stories of humanity's struggle against the raw, untamable forces of nature. The Norse people saw these battles everywhere, in the crash of thunder and the splintering of ice. Travel to the sun-drenched lands of Greece, and the creatures change. The myths are filled with hybrids, beings that are part human, part animal. There is the centaur, half man and half horse, representing the struggle between civilization and our wilder instincts. There is the siren, with the body of a bird and the head of a woman, whose beautiful song lured sailors to their doom. These creatures explored the complexities of human nature. They were not just simple monsters to be slain. They were often tragic figures caught between two worlds. They asked questions about what it means to be human. They were born from a culture fascinated with philosophy, art, and the inner workings of the soul. In the East, the stories tell of different beings. In China, the dragon is not a creature of greed and destruction. It is a symbol of power, luck, and prosperity. The Chinese dragon is a divine being. It controls the water, the rain, the typhoons, and the floods. It is a benevolent force, a protector. Emperors were said to be descendants of dragons. This shows a deep cultural respect for nature's power, not as something to be conquered, but as something to be honored and understood. The dragon's form itself, a composite of 9 different animals, represents harmony and the coming together of different strengths. It is a creature born from a worldview that values balance and the interconnectedness of all things. These creatures are more than just imaginary animals. They are cultural fingerprints. The Anansi the spider from West African folklore is a trickster god. He uses his wits and cunning to outsmart those more powerful than him. His stories are not just for entertainment. They are tales of survival and ingenuity, passed down through generations, often by people who had to rely on their intelligence to overcome oppression. The Yeti of the Himalayas is a solitary, elusive creature. It embodies the mystery and the formidable nature of the world's highest mountains. Each myth is a mirror. It reflects the environment, the history, and the very soul of the culture that gave it life. They show us how different people made sense of the same world. Long before these stories were written down, they were carved. They were painted on the walls of caves and etched into stone monuments. You can see them on the ancient temples of Egypt, where gods with the heads of animals stand guard for eternity. Anubis, with the head of a jackal, guided souls to the afterlife. Horus, with the head of a falcon, was the god of the sky. These images were not just decorations, they were a language. They told the stories of creation, of life, and of death. They made the abstract world of the gods visible and real to the people. They were a constant reminder that the world of spirits and the world of humans were deeply intertwined, a belief chiseled into the very foundations of their civilization. Then came the words. The stories were woven into epic poems and sung by bards in great halls. Think of Homer's The Odyssey. The hero, Odysseus, does not just battle other men. He must face the Cyclops, a one-eyed giant. He must navigate between Scylla, a 6-headed sea monster, and Charybdis, a deadly whirlpool. These creatures were essential to the story. They were the obstacles that tested the hero's courage, his intelligence, and his will to survive. The monsters were not just random encounters. They were the heart of the adventure. The epic poem Beowulf gives us Grendel, a monstrous descendant of Cain, who terrorizes the Danes. The hero's battle against this creature is a battle against the darkness that threatens human society. Art has always loved monsters. During the Renaissance, artists like Hieronymus Bosch painted canvases teeming with fantastical and grotesque creatures. His paintings, like the Garden of Earthly Delights, are a disturbing and fascinating look into the human imagination. They show a world where the lines between human, animal, and demon are blurred. These works were not just a flight of fancy. They were complex allegories about morality, sin, and temptation. The mythical creatures in these paintings were powerful symbols, used to explore the darkest corners of the human psyche. They gave artists a way to depict ideas that were too complex or too dangerous to express in plain language. This tradition continues today, unbroken. Mythical creatures are everywhere in our modern literature. J.R.R. Tolkien built his entire world of Middle-earth on a foundation of myth. He gave us elves, dwarves, orcs, and, of course, the dragon Smaug. These were not just copies of old legends. He breathed new life into them, gave them languages, histories, and cultures. J.K. Rowling's Harry Potter series is filled with creatures from global folklore, from the basilisk and the hippogriff to the phoenix and the centaurs. These stories show that mythical creatures are not just relics of the past. They are powerful tools for storytellers, allowing them to build new worlds and explore timeless themes of good versus evil, courage, and friendship. So why do we keep telling these stories? Why, in an age of science and technology, are we still fascinated by griffins and goblins? The answer is simple. We need them. These creatures represent something that the modern world often tries to suppress: the power of imagination. They are a gateway to a world that operates on different rules, a world of magic and wonder. In our predictable everyday lives, the idea of a dragon sleeping on a pile of gold is exciting. The thought of a unicorn in a hidden forest is beautiful. These stories provide an escape. They allow us to step outside of our own reality, even for just a little while, and believe that the world is bigger and more mysterious than it seems. These myths also serve a deeper purpose. They help us understand ourselves. The monsters we create are often reflections of our own inner demons. The struggle of a hero against a dragon is not just a story about a man fighting a big lizard. It is a metaphor for our own struggles against our fears, our greed, or our anger. When the hero wins, it gives us hope that we can win our own battles. The noble creatures, like the phoenix, represent our highest aspirations. They symbolize hope, rebirth, and the ability to overcome adversity. These stories are a safe space where we can confront the best and worst parts of human nature. They are a mirror, showing us not who we are, but who we could be. Furthermore, these creatures connect us to our past. Every story of a mythical beast is a thread that links us to our ancestors. When we tell a tale of the Loch Ness Monster, we are participating in a tradition of storytelling that is centuries old. These legends are a part of our shared cultural heritage. They remind us that people all over the world, throughout all of history, have looked at the shadows and wondered what might be hiding there. They have looked at the stars and dreamed of other worlds. These stories create a sense of community. They are the folklore that binds a culture together, giving it a unique identity and a shared history that transcends time. In the end, mythical creatures are more than just monsters. They are the embodiment of human creativity. They are proof that our imagination is a powerful force, capable of creating entire worlds and populating them with beings both terrible and beautiful. These legends live on because they are infinitely adaptable. Each generation reinterprets them, finding new meanings and new relevance in the old stories. They remind us that not everything in the world needs to be explained or categorized by science. There is still room for mystery. There is still room for magic. And as long as there are dark forests and deep oceans, as long as there are shadows and unanswered questions, we will continue to dream up monsters to live in them.